One question is, if we believe that God exists, is how do we come to know who God is? What is the foundation of God's nature? As I mentioned in the last video clip, God is not just like you and I, but somehow just really, really good, or the greatest. So we can project all these images that we have of our human experience of intellect and emotion. God is somehow wholly other. Now, this means that we experience God in his immanence in our lives, and of course we believe in Christ and his incarnation. But God is also transcendent, beyond sometimes our imaginings. One image that I like to use is that when we try to say anything about God, it's like, imagine if you went outside and you saw where the sun was, and you had a bow and arrow, and you pointed towards the sun, and you can see where it is, and you point the bow and arrow towards the sun, and you say, I'm going to hit the sun with this bow and arrow. And you shoot it, and you pull back as hard as you can, and you shoot it and release, and it goes for a while, and then it falls short. That, in a sense, is what we do when we speak about anything about who God is. We can see and we believe that God exists through both natural and supernatural revelation in the tradition of the church. And we can point towards God, elements, but anything we're going to say about God is always going to come vastly short from the actual nature of who God is. Some of the analogies or images that we use about God, we take from our own lived experience of things we encounter in the world. For example, God is a warrior, God is a rock, God is a mother or a father. All these elements are true about God's nature, that God desires to be eternal love and protect us and care for us, but they do not summarize the fullness of who God is. One of the images I know I like to use oftentimes in my own prayer life is God as counselor, one who wants to assist me and lead me closer in holiness. Amazingly enough, God exists, and we believe God exists in infinite love, perfect being. There is nothing lacking in God's reality. This, of course, is what we experience in moments in this life in prayer and service and loving relationship with other people. But we believe, and hopefully, that we are built for eternal love with God, to share in that perfect relationship. God's reality is made present to us most specifically through Christ in our church. Now, oftentimes people speak about, well, is there just one religious tradition, or how do we know that God has come in this particular way? But that's something I'll cover in another segment. I hope this has been helpful. There's always ways in which we keep growing closer in knowing who God is. This is why we keep coming back in prayer. And amazingly enough, this God of all the universes, God of all creation, wants to be in relationship with us as individuals, as part of his creation. God bless.